Let me sing you the song of my people. The birds will quiet down in a moment. Anyhow, welcome back, everybody, to the Squatters Lounge podcast. That's right, we're back live after our epic trip to the Oregon coast. And tonight, I brought those people right in here in-house with us tonight to talk about the coastal Bigfoot sightings, all the goodness that goes along with them. So sit back, grab yourself a drink, and it's going to be it's going to be a hot time in the city tonight. Shut up!
And bring me a Snapple.
That's right. Joan, bring me a Snapple. Peach, diet, bastards. Oh my God, they won't shut up. They will here shortly, I swear. I'll try and block the mic for a little while from them. I hate when they do this. Anyhow, welcome everybody to the Squatters Lounge podcast. Of course, I am your host, the Reverend Jeff Kelly, and we are here live with the Duncans from coastal Oregon. Hello, there's Mary and Arron Duncan. You guys see them live in the chat almost every single week, unless they're doing their funky stuff that's not at home. And I brought them on board tonight to talk about their local area there. The coastal Bigfoot. Does the cockle eater actually exist? I don't know. We're going to find out tonight. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks.
Let's start off the show tonight by saying that we lost a very close member of the show. Sadly, she has she's transformed into something else, and though we're really going to be sorry to miss her, God, I'm having a brain fart. God bless it. Just give me a moment. Natalie Smith. I'm sorry. The name was just blocked in my head. She sits with us almost every week. And unfortunately, she passed away this week. She's been seriously sick for quite some time. And, we gave her the best we could. We sent her as many prayers as we could, but unfortunately, she was just called home. So this week, we figured we'd dedicate the show to her and say she'll be missed by everybody. That's for sure. So, guys, let's see. Where do we want to start off tonight? I know you've got a couple of stories to tell us along the way, but, what got you guys into Bigfoot in the first place?
Shows like yours, really. To be frank, we've been with you since probably year one. So we've watched you and David do the shows and for quite a few years. And then we love being outdoors in the woods. So we go out there quite regularly, just drive the woods and enjoy nature. And there's some stuff out there that, hard to say.
Yeah.
And footprints. We've actually found footprints near Euchre Creek, which is like 2 miles from us. And it's a South Coast property. So it's all lumberton property and it's all fenced. No one can go in there. So we've found the footprint. We've had the creepy feelings. We've smelled them. Basically, when you're out in the middle of nowhere, you should be the only one out there. But we clearly know that that's not true.
Well, yeah, and it's coming up there this past week. Oh, look, it's Who's Duncan. Yeah, coming up there this week. We drove through some areas. There's no doubt that they're squatchy. I mean, once you get through Medford and down into the Grants Pass and down through Cave Junction and all of that, it's pretty hairy. I mean, it's some big country to get through the mountains there, and it's not like a Florida beach going to the Oregon coast. You're literally like right off of the coast. You start going up 100, 200 feet in elevation. In most places that's not the case. So it's kind of like they can come right down out of the hills and get a smorgasbord off of the beaches down there.
Well, and we have really nice Roosevelt elk. They're all over the place. Lots of fish in the rivers, plenty of game, and it's just a perfect place for that. And it's super remote. Most people will tell you if it doesn't come by a box truck, we're not having it here. So
Well, I found that out the hard way. I mean, we literally had to drive all the way into the city or into town, not city, but into town of Gold Beach if we wanted to even get a grocery store. I mean,
Yep.
it's not like it was it's not like it's 100 miles, but it's still a haul from where your location is there out there in the woods on the beach to anything that's really considered civilization. I mean, yeah, you've got people moving and living in amongst you, but it's not like you are in the city or town. It's not house on top of house on top of house out there.
Exactly.
And it would make
that's why we love it.
now, Mary, why don't you go ahead and start us off with your with your story tonight, and that way we can get through that, and then when we get done with your story, we'll do a shout out in the lounge and a quasi theory. So that's where we're at.
Perfect.
Okay, so I'm going to do the Lobster Creek was kind of your thing there, so I'm going to do that one first.
Give her a sec.
It's going to open up the wood for me.
Having computer glitch. Hang on.
Yeah. It's all good. I'm sorry. I usually sit
All
here
right, so this is a Bigfoot sighting on Lobster Creek Road, Gold Beach, Oregon. We live in Curry County, and it was the summer of 2018. It's been about 3 years since, and it's written in my husband's perspective. So it's been about 3 years since my wife and I had a weird experience while driving up the Rogue River from Gold Beach on the southern Oregon coast. It was a sunny and warm day, just perfect for a drive in the forest way up in the mountains. We went up the North Bank Rogue River Road about 10 miles from the Pacific Ocean, and then turned left up Lobster Creek Road, which is really a well-maintained logging road. Just for a minute. Okay. We then took a spur road that went off to the east and drove for about 3 miles. We were getting close to one of my wife's favorite meadows that had a big swampy area. A group of pitcher plants, which is an exotic flytrap, were right next to the road there. There's lots of skunk cabbage and maidenhair ferns. At that point, a steep bank rose up on the left to just level of the cab of the truck. There was a nice grove of oak trees that seemed to go up the hill forever. This is an area we've driven through many times. We always seem to spot wildlife such as deer or elk. We've seen wild pigs, turkeys, and grouse. There are even eagles and osprey that nest near this area. We took another spur road from there that headed down to the right at a slight angle on the hill. We drove about a half a mile down through some shrub oaks, and it was fairly open ground. My window was down, and the dogs were in the back seat with their heads out the windows, ears flopping. We had a very wise old lab named Angel, who knows bear from everything else, and our wiener dog, Honeydew, who had a great nose and a very feisty personality. These dogs were our noses and ears in the forest, but this time they did not alert to anything, and they always let us know if even a squirrel was anywhere near us. I got a slight whiff of a foul odor that I'd never smelled before. It seemed to be above us on the ridge. I continued to drive down the road and then stopped about a quarter mile from the first smell. Suddenly, a creepy feeling came over me. I needed to turn the truck around and get the heck out of there, stat. When we got back to the place where I first caught the smell, it was now overwhelming. My wife could not figure out what was wrong with me and asked, why did we turn around? I could not really tell her at the time, but then she started to smell the rank odor, and we both had a sense of urgency and a need to get out of there. That strong smell stayed in the truck for as long as we drove out of the woods, and it seemed to follow us. Later, when I could talk to my wife about what had happened, it seemed to her that once we turned the truck around and started back towards the main road, she could feel something was above us and moving with us, keeping pace with our truck for a while. It is not like me to be afraid, and I have never had any uncomfortable desire to flee from anything. The smell was very stinky, wet dog, garbage. The musky scent hung in the air. During the drive out of the woods, the hair on the back of our necks was stuck way up. This is not the last time we would have an encounter, and it was really odd that when it's happening, we're experiencing it independently, and that we get through it, and then we both try to talk to the other about it, but it's really hard to express. Even when we were within a few feet of each other during the experience. So that's one of them.
The one thing that sticks out to me is that smell that you described of baby shit wrapped in wet dog, wrapped up in garbage. I've smelled that personally. I mean, I literally, and in particular, the whatever we encountered in South Florida, it threw crap at us, and that's what it smelled like. I mean, I honestly think that wet dog garbage smell is like a glandular reaction, to where they'll crap it out or spit it out their anal gland just to make an awful stench that's so offensive that makes other animals and people want to get the hell away from it. It's like almost like the smell of death. Death smells like death because it doesn't want you to screw with it. Yep. I mean, that's really the case when it comes to that type of a thing. And with the smell of that it's hard to explain to somebody until they've actually experienced that grittiness, eye burning, offensive, I want to get the hell away from this just as soon as I can, stink of whatever it is. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's a Bigfoot, but whatever the hell is making that stink, I don't want to be around it.
Yeah, you're going to go the opposite way. You're going to feel like you need to leave. And it's not something that it's that innate, it's an innate response. It's like a protective, all over, no control, you're going.
Yeah, like my response to danger is to run at it instead of away from it, but that's just my response. I can't help it. I have to stop and think, whoa, this is stupid, and go the other way. But my first response literally is to run at danger. It really, really is. And that's one of those innate abilities that you just, your body reacts to it, and you're not thinking about it, it just does. Yeah, I know it's better to. I believe in the Jack Sparrow form of fighting. We fight to run away so that we can fight another day. I mean, it's all in how you look at it. But for sure, that stinkiness is just. And I have never encountered that, but on occasions where I honestly felt there was some kind of a Bigfoot around.
Yeah. Not just the smell though. You have a sense of someone watching. You have a sense of there's something that's come into your space, and my space is about 200 yards.
Yeah, all right. And my nose is very, very effective these days. I mean, since I quit smoking, so many years ago, it really it annoys the wife because she doesn't smell it. She didn't get the nose sensitivity like I do. But like perfume, if a woman walks into the shop into a building with too much perfume on, I can smell her four floors away.
Yeah, that's me too. And I might have an allergic reaction.
Right, I'll start to sneeze over it because it's and some of these women like to bathe in wind song. It's like, oh honey, please, that goes a little bit. It's like Brill cream, a little dab of you.
I knew we were going to work Brill cream into the routine.
Of course we were, because we're going to talk about my hair. Do y'all like it? She's responsible. All the golden, all the glorious locks are gone. They are absolutely gone. The trim job experience. it has grown out enough, in the few days since we did it already for it to lay back the way it's supposed to. So I'd say we had no trauma. She really took care of the rev. I mean, we all know that I'm a bit on the delicate side when it comes to psyche, especially with that hair. But all that hair was sick from me being sick. You were right, and now it all feels so much better. I mean, it really, the hair itself actually just feels so much better. Quick health update. I'm surviving. Getting a doctor is a pain in the freaking ass in California. I mean, it's really, really awful, but I'm doing all right. I'm walking between 1 and 3 miles a day. I have walked 247 miles back towards health. Since it's all happened in January, I literally walked that far. So I'm trying for 500 miles this year. We'll see what happens. Next year we'll do more. I'll be up to 3 miles a day, a mile and a half in the morning and a mile and a half at night, almost as soon as the dog's ready for it. She can make about a mile, and then she's all. Let me see if I can get her. Where is she? Come here,
Let's see, Fruity Lou. Oh, I hear her.
No, that's Miss Cleo May.
Cleo.
And today is one of her birthdays as well. But this is my new squatching puppy, and her name is Fruity Lou, like Scooby Doo. She is the daughter of Thor and Pancake, and she is a half husky, half golden retriever. We call her a huskatriever, and she's already walking a mile a day with me. So she's going to be my new squatching buddy, my new river buddy, my new gold buddy. And I don't have to worry about the eagles going, that's a funny looking rabbit. I wonder what that tastes like. The only thing I'll have to worry about will be the bobcats, the lions, and the bears. And, well, she's not afraid of Floki or your other wolf there. People are like, oh, my God, they got a wolf for a pet. I'm like, well, yeah, a couple of them. Big bastards. But there she is, Miss Fruity Lou. She'll be around a lot more. She's such a good dog. She loves everybody. No growling. No, I mean, she just is such a good dog. Anyhow, let's say hi, everybody, to the people that's in the hangout there, because there's a whole bunch of people out there tonight. We'll start. Look, there's Arron Duncan. I mean, Mary must be with them as well, of course. Hello, and the Reverend Dean Cooper, of course, he's in the house with us as well. The bonsai guru of Illinois, or at least Chicago, Dean Cooper. Shane Barber, hello Shane. I hope you're feeling better. I know your legs kind of messed up on your body. We'll send some good juju your way. The Reverend Tim McCune is in the house. Hello, Tim. Glad you're with us as well. Miss Kathy Alvaro's with us tonight. She was the one that delivered the sad news to us about Natalie. We'll all be praying for more Miss Wheezy. I'm sure she's just totally destroyed as well. Let's see here. There's more people in here. I know. There's Frank G. Hello, Mr. Frank G. Glad you're checking in with us as well. And Lance Windsor, there he is, the Great White North investigator, not to be confused with white supremacist investigator, because I don't think that's the case.
We need our disclaimer now.
Right, yeah, this show is not for children under the age of 13. If you think your parents actually give a shit, go ask them. Jess M is in the house with us. I don't recognize that name, so hello there, Jess M. And the Titan Glass 88. Hey, where are you from, Titan Glass 88? If we're covering your side of your neck of the woods over there, the coastal Oregon, because that was fantastic over there. I'm going back at some point. Miss Bella Allegria, hello there, young lady. I hope you got good news from the doctor this week as well. And there's Mr. Ken. God damn it, every time, man. Just sorry, Gin. You'll be all right. Hey, buddy. Glad you're with us. Let's see. David Lee's in the house tonight. Hello, Mr. David Lee. And let's see here. Cam Squanch. His pronoun is he, so we can call him he now. We know. Hello, sir. Glad that you're along for the ride. The Reverend Rod Dupree is in the house. He's trying to get that gold off his claim, but the river just won't cooperate. Needs to calm down a little bit. Keeps washing his pay dirt off of his shovel. Can't even get it in the bucket. Let's see here. Banana Bowie. Hello, Banana Bowie. We're all talking. That's who's talking. Who's Duncan? Well, there's Duncan's right there. That's Mary and Aaron. We're not sure who you are, but hi, who's Duncan? Let's see here. I know there's some other people in here. I saw them. Maybe I'm lying. Oh, no, Karen Robb checked in. Hello there, Karen. Glad you are with us as well. My son Sean is probably hiding out there as well. There's Scooter Cruz. Hello, Scooter Cruz. I don't think I recognize that name, but glad you're on board tonight. California Pickin' Drew's in the house tonight. Hello, California Pickin'. Glad you're with us tonight, buddy. Been a while. Don Rife's in the house. Almost missed the Viking. Who can miss the Viking? Jesus, God in heaven. Jesus wept. That's a new one. Friggin' Faraday from The Magnificent Seven. Jesus wept. Did he? I don't know. Not even on the cross. Hey, Mary, I can see your house from here. Sorry. Inside joke that I told a bunch of jokes while we were up there. By the way, where's that whore with the bad tooth? All right. Oh, he's Native American. Okay, so we don't have to worry about Lance Windsor being a white supremacist. He's as angry as white people as I am.
Everybody seems to have a little Indian in them, Louis.
Yeah, so they say anyhow. You want a little Indian in you? God, I'm off.
I'll be nice.
Tommy Boston, how you doing there, Tommy? I think I missed that one as well. Oh God. Okay. If I missed you, I'm really, really sorry. I didn't mean to. I think we've covered everybody here, though.
Okay, I got my second story up if you're interested in it.
Well, we're gonna run the quasi theory for Dean, and then we'll and then we'll go into your second story there.
Okay.
For sure. So let's go ahead and run the quasi theory, and we'll be right back after, because it seems like there's something fishy about this show. And now, quasi theories from a quasi scientist with your host, Dean Cooper.
There's something fishy about the summer solstice. This coming Saturday, June 20th, is the first day of summer. Officially, it will be at 4:44 p.m. Central Standard Time in the good old US of A, where I live. Any place other than that, it's at 2144 UTC. You can work it out for yourself for your region. Traditionally, in the Christian world, it marks the birthday of John the Baptist, although it is usually celebrated a few days later, depending on when the solstice actually occurs. It's 6 months later than the birth of his cousin Jesus, whose birthday is celebrated a few days after the winter solstice. When Jesus went to John to be baptized, John said, "He must increase, but I must decrease." John chapter 3, verse 30, which is to say that after Jesus is born, days get longer. After John is born, days get shorter. Jesus, as all should know, has many of the attributes of pagan sun gods. Christianity is notorious for having adopted much of pagan mythology, holidays, customs, well, really, nearly all of paganism, into Christianity. 12 Greek gods, 12 apostles, all the same holidays, churches built on top of the foundations of pagan temples, the which were torn down by Christian monks. The list is near endless. So, from whence was John the Baptist derived? From which pagan god? The answer is in the etymology of his name. John comes from the Latin Johannes, which comes from the Greek Ioannis, which in Hebrew is Yohanan, all of which comes from Oannes. Oannes was the Mesopotamian god of water and wisdom, whose worship included baptism. Oannes was depicted as half man and half fish, and was also known as Dagon. Footnote, stuck in the middle here. Yes. Good old H.P. Lovecraft made Dagon into one of his nasty gods. Dagon, Lord of the Deep Ones. The Deep Ones being Guild Batrachian humanoids. Footnote stuck in the middle of a footnote. Batrachian means frog or toad-like. Where was I? Oh yeah, the Deep Ones live in the ocean depths. The odd hat called a mitre, worn by Christian cardinals, is a stylized fish head and was worn by the priests of Dagon. So Jesus, the sun god, is baptized by Oannes, the water god. The great mythologist Joseph Campbell wrote, "Several scholars have suggested, therefore, that there never was either John or Jesus, but only a water god and a sun god." So let's honor both this Saturday with sun and water. Get out your sprinklers, your super soakers, your slip and slides. Fill up some water balloons and go baptize your neighbors. You may read the text of this on my blog at bhaidin.com. That's BHAIDIN.com.
Water bottle.
Awesome.
Holds everything.
That was fishy too.
Yeah, definitely fishy. The solstice. Oh, you gotta wonder. It's like every Christian holiday is based on a Greek holiday of some sort or another. It's just all a conglomeration of nobody really knows what the hell went on anymore. I guess when we die, we figure it all out. Is that how it works? I don't know.
Get another try if you believe in reincarnation.
Well, that's the Irish in me. Those guys didn't even wear armor in battle because they didn't care. I'm dead. I'm alive.
It's kind of the druid thing too. If you're
Yeah.
watching Britannia, right? Darla said she was watching
Oh
Britannia.
my God, that was just a horrible show.
It's weird, but it's got druids in it, and they were weird.
Yes, they were. What is somehow mechanically made machine the hook screws in his fingers? I didn't quite understand that, but hey, whatever. It's only supposed to be never. I guess at this point, let's go ahead and do your second story here. And,
okay, well, I'll preface this with that. This really is probably the reason why we started really looking to see what was out there in the woods around us. I became more heavily armed after this incident, and usually my biggest thing was to take a stick with me when we went walking out in the middle of nowhere. So it changed our lives in a way. We've been together for a little bit, and I just had a child. So again, we're taking infant out into the woods with us, and there are things out there. But anyway, so this is near Covered Bridge on McKenzie River in Oregon, which is kind of the middle near Eugene. It was in the fall of 1988 when my husband and I had been together for a year plus, and I gave birth to our son Jesse. We lived in Bend, Oregon, but we're going to be staying at my parents' house for the weekend and hunt the Cascade Mountain Range near Cougar Hot Springs. It was about an hour drive to get there, but the trip was the best part of it. The area above Leeburg Lake, Blue Lake, and Sahaley Falls and onward is absolutely a forest paradise. The McKenzie River is a premier fishery for trout, salmon, catfish, you name it, and this river has it. I should know since I grew up in Coburg, just north of Eugene, and it's on the McKenzie too. Our hunting tag was for the area just past the second covered bridge, and we were running late, as there was not much daylight left to hunt. It was cold and starting to rain a bit, so I was good to go staying in the rig with Jesse and our dog, while Arron scouted the area. There was fresh deer sign everywhere, and we found their bedding area as we were driving in, so we knew they would be coming back to bed down for the night. My husband didn't plan on being gone too long, and the rest of us were staying warm in our Dodge Raider, which was parked off the road at a dead end in a small stand of young pine trees. These baby trees were just a bit taller than our rig and were very thick. You could barely see through them. It had maybe been a half an hour when I heard what I thought was Arron coming down the hill to my left. As the footsteps grew closer to where I was waiting in the Raider, they got louder, faster, and I could at one point feel the compression to the ground, as if it was running by the front of our rig with me, a sleeping child, and my brave German Shepherd coyote wolf, Cody. We sat quietly, so we were hoping we wouldn't be noticed by it when it ran in front of the rig. It was a large, heavy, upright being. Its feet fell in a 1-2 beat, and I tried to not be seen as it went by the front of the truck in the trees. I could not move, and Cody was whining and shaking in the back seat. I hit our lights and our light bar on the front of the rig and started honking the horn. It was way too dark to see anything at that point, except Arron coming through the front in the trees by the Raider. He saw how Cody and I were behaving and started asking questions. I wanted to know where he had been about 10 minutes before that. He thought he'd spooked something up on the hill above us, but he never saw it. He didn't hear it. He didn't smell it, but I did. It took me a while to be able to go out into the forest after that, but now I'm more careful, more watchful, and way more armed. I'll get out there again soon.
That's way more armed. That's probably the important part of that story. Let me do it a quick. Tommy Boston, hello Tommy. Kevin K208 and Prairie Fires in the house, as well as Mr. Fang. Treat. Hello everybody. Yeah, well, a whole lot more armed when going out into the woods is probably the smartest moral to that story. I did it. I'll admit. I used to go out Bigfoot hunting with a friggin' Bowie knife and a fishing pole and think I was a badass. But when you run into one, you tend to reconsider your choices. Um, I reconsidered for a 500 mag is what I did. I reconsidered my choice from a Bowie knife because I saw how big that bastard was and knew what the hell it was going to take to kill it. I didn't just want to piss it off. I mean, it's like shooting a grizzly bear with a 38. You're just going to make it mad. Like, don't even do it. Like, you're better off waiting for it to get in close enough for you to stab it than you are shooting at that 38 because it's probably going to bounce off its hide. It's probably not even going to break the skin. I mean, no offense, but you shooting a 38 at a Bigfoot's going to be like, hitting a friggin' elephant with a wiffle ball bat. It's just not going to care. You're not even going to be able to get enough energy to even disrupt its organs. I mean, Justin shot one with a 300 Win Mag, and it went clean through its chest cavity and still was able to survive. Yeah. So it must have gotten really, really lucky.
He was angry.
Well, I mean, that thing, it's literally like, well, you guys big game hunt, so you understand the shock wave when that bullet hits that animal and the dust cloud that comes off of it. You can see the energy actually going through the animal. Even if the bullet didn't catch its heart, the shock wave going through it very well is going to stop it if it's that close. And this thing went right through the rib cage and wherever it came out the other side, and that animal ran up into the trees and disappeared. I mean, nowhere to be found. So it must have clambered over the hill and ran down the other side after taking a 300 Win Mag through the chest cavity. So we upped our game. I mean, everybody's carrying 500s now. Why? Because, well, we're in bear country. That's just smart. And 40,000 black bears in California, and we're not talking about, Yogi Bear at 110 pounds. We're talking 400, 500-pound bears. So,
we have cougar that are probably bigger than bear.
Yeah, we do too. Yeah, absolutely. We have mountain lions that are absolutely bigger than some of our black bear here. The big boars are nasty. They're 650 or bigger, but yeah, those big cougars that are out there in the Sierras up there in the same area. Hell, the bobcats I friggin' mistook for a damn small cougar, for a small lion. Yeah. I saw a bobcat and I didn't realize that it wasn't a lion until I actually caught its tail, because it wasn't a Manx. It was definitely a big old bobcat, but they eat freely up there. I mean, we don't hunt does in California for some strange reason, so there's just a ton of food for all that wildlife to eat. And we noticed that while we were there in Oregon on the coast. Everywhere we went, we saw eatable wildlife. There were deer everywhere. There were plenty of game.
Turkeys, tons of turkeys.
Exactly. I was going to say upland game. There's just, you have an eagle population because you have a food source year round, not just the salmon. So all those, those eagles have to eat other stuff during the year when the salmon aren't running. So, that's a lot of it that comes down to it too, that we have the same thing in in our areas here where we look is, you're looking for the large carrion and the large raptors and the large predators because that's where all the food is. And you guys are literally so far out of town that the food's in your backyard.
It wanders through our yard all the time.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt. We were just talking before the show about the 25-pound raccoon that's up there, and they don't feed it. Like, it's not eating dog food. I mean, that thing is just wildly eating whatever it can, probably taking the heads off of chickens.
Fang, it's not those kind of cougars.
Oh yeah, not those kind of cougars, Mr. Fang. We call those sugar mamas. That's a different kind of cougar. Being mauled by those cougars is a whole nother reason the show could be PG-13. So remember, kids, if you're under 13 and you think your parents care, go ask. Mm-hmm. And if you're under 8, go tell your mother she's calling you.
Yeah.
Like, don't even ask. Just go, Mom, you're calling me. I know you are. What do you want? Sending them off like it's crazy.
You lost your picture, by the way.
You lost my picture?
Yeah, you're not. We can't see you talking.
Weird. Oh yeah, because I didn't know I did that. Yeah, because there we go. Now we can see everybody in the thing. Note to self: hit Applebee's. Yeah, what the hell? I don't know. So Let's go ahead and get this wrapped up for it here for the night. Before we get way off friggin' key here.
Yeah.
I mean, we've already gone into portals, and let's go ahead and clear up the record for everybody too, that you guys are not of the woo the woo persuasion in Bigfoot. I mean, you guys believe this is some kind of biological creature that's just, I mean, I don't know. You tell me your thoughts.
Definitely. So this thing, we believe it's, even though, she saw that one years ago. Myself, I haven't got to see one in person, but I've smelled them, found other reasons to believe in them. So yes, I believe they are real and out there.
We had one throw a chunk of wood about this big at us.
Uphill.
I mean, we were just getting out of the car with the dogs. We were in the middle of nowhere, which is our favorite place to be. And we just were about to potty stop the animals. And I was out of the car. Arron wasn't out of the car yet. And it was above us. And it was just like all of a sudden this big chunk of wood landed right next to my foot. And there was no thought. We got back in the frickin' car and we left. And that's a place we go to all the time, or at least we used to.
Well, I've been with these guys. I mean, they're not kidding. I mean, literally, we went and did some gold prospecting in the middle of freaking nowhere. I mean, yeah, there were other people on the river, but literally where we were a couple of 100 yards away from anybody that could have heard a scream. I mean, that's they stop and let their animals out along the river just about anywhere they can feel that they can get away with it. They do go into those types of areas, and that's what you have to do if you want to encounter one of these things. I mean, you've got to put yourself in those remote areas where those creatures exist. They're not going to come to you. I mean, if you live in the middle of those remote places, they may come through your yard. But, if you live in the city and you want to go squatching, chances are they're not living underneath your river bridge at the edge of town. Because
those are transient.
Oh, that's absolutely funny. All right, guys. Well, do you have anything you want to finish us up with tonight?
We love everybody that showed up tonight, and it's awesome. And we'll see you guys next Wednesday, except for you won't see us.
Right. Next Wednesday, we're gonna do, tonight should have been the Bigfoot Entertainment Monthly with Wes, but I swapped it the next week so that we can do a show dedicated to Natalie and have you guys on after our epic trip up there. I can't wait to come back and see you guys again. I didn't get my salmon in the river, but I caught more salmon in one scoop than you people will ever catch in your entire lives. So I saw so many fish. I mean, that's just good work on the hatchery up there. And it is the, I got the hat right here. It is the Indian Creek Hatchery in Oregon there. And these guys, he's the president of the association, and they volunteered. There's a tour on my website or on my Facebook page of the hatchery. I covered pretty much little clippets of the entire thing so that you could get an idea of what the hatchery really does up there. So check it out on Facebook. You can find me there, on friggin' here on YouTube, or anywhere else you decide you want to find me.
Come hunt him down at home.
Exactly. Send me a message and we'll figure it out. We are going camping in the Pi Valley at the end of September. Hopefully the Duncans are going to come down and join us for that trip. The last week in September is I'll have, I mean, I think I've given you guys exact dates, but I can never remember what they are. The wife always knows.
I'd have to look them up.
I want to say it's the 20th to the 24th, and we were going to pack out on Saturday the 25th. That way you guys could get home on Saturday and have a day to recuperate, because we now know how much of a ride that really, really is. And it's not that bad. It's really not that bad.
Well
worth it. We sure had a great time.
And at least the car didn't blow up until after we got home. So yay me.
Asking, interesting questions about Mama Samma's and her eggs. So he needs to go look at your post and he'll know that. Yeah,
I tell the whole story about how the mamas get saved and then unsaved. So
we take their lives and then we take their eggs. We are evil.
All right. With that, everybody, I want to thank you guys for being here with me tonight. I am the Reverend Jeff Kelly for Arron and Mary Duncan. May the Squatch be with you.
And here comes
Campfire.
Oh God, I forgot to do the campfire story.
Campfire!
Should I do the campfire story? Okay, let's run
Yes,
the campfire story,
yes,
because this is
do
actually
it.
one of my favorite ones. It's 8 minutes long, so enjoy.
All right, everybody.
You guys hear that? I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure that's a Bigfoot. Let me tell you a story. A Bigfoot captured in the Pacific West had been held in captivity for nearly 30 years by the Carnival of the Damned as part of their freak show. Half man, half creature, and all real terror, it fit right in until the last night it had ever been seen in its cage. Let's hear that story. Hi, my name's Timmy, and as a young boy I enjoyed traveling. Each summer my parents would send me back east to Virginia to stay with my grandparents while my parents worked. I really loved my Nana. She always knew how to just keep me happy. I had been in town for about a week when Nana came home from the market, and she presented me with a pair of tickets to the newly arrived carnival. I was super excited about it, as I loved exotic animals, from lions and tigers to monkeys and chimps. It was all advertised on the ticket, and I couldn't wait for Saturday to get here. Days seemed to stretch on. I kept hearing stories from others who had been to the show, how amazing the big cat show was, and even some sort of story that they kept calling a wood booger. I even heard a couple of the local boys arguing if it was even real, or it must be a fake. After all of this, I was about to burst, and then finally, the day arrived. Anna woke me up early, as she had some things to do before we could go to the carnival this evening. Out we went, doing our usual visits to neighbors and others who couldn't get out for themselves. I couldn't help but be a bit selfish and just stare at the clock most of the day. And then it happened. Nana turned to me and said, "Let's go get ready for the show." So home we went, while she got all changed and dressed up. She looked amazing in her polka dot dress and hat. Nana always had class. And then I stood there in front of her in my brown tweed suit, just as proud as I could be, holding my brown bolo hat. Just then, Granddad looks over and wolf whistles and wishes us the best on our adventure, as he wasn't into people that much, he said. I was in amazement with all the sights and sounds as we arrived. This was the year I discovered my hatred of clowns. Not so much a fear, mind you, but an overburdening need to beat them in the face with a bat. Anyways, we walked past the big cats and watched the one-ring show, then browsed all through all of the midway, and that's when I heard it. Come one, come all, and see what only a few can stomach, one of the scariest creatures on earth. Step right up and see the half-man Sasquatch of the Pacific Northwest. Just 15 cents a person. Step right up. I couldn't resist the look at Nana. She kind of cringed with the thought of it, but into her purse she dug, and off to the barker to buy 2 tickets we went. "Hello there, young man," said the barker with his greasy hair and matching greasy mustache. "We're glad you could join us, but are you sure your lovely lady is ready to see such horrors as these?" Well, Nana spoke right up for herself, as she had seen the horrors of battle in the Great War, and surely this couldn't match any of that. He looked my way and smiled some knowing smile and pointed towards the old decaying red and yellow striped tent. Once through the flaps and around a blind corner, we were herded along with the others into row after row of folding chairs facing a stage. Inside, there were just a few folks, like the man in the moth-ridden brown suit and the motorcycle hood and the leather jacket. Well, Nana led me to the seats towards the exit, and we sat there and waited for the show. It wasn't but a few minutes past when the barker returned, this time in a bright and red shabby of an overcoat and top hat, smoking a cigar and laughing at his own jokes. With the wave of his hand, the music stopped, and the lights went dim, and he began to warn us of what we were about to see. Lady and gentlemen, you have come here of your own free will to see the freak that is the half-man, half-creature known as Sasquatch by the Chehalis Indians, or Sasquatch to you and I. I, too, didn't believe the creature until I saw it firsthand, just like you brave people are about to. Just remember, keep your voices down, don't make any sudden movements, and we'll all make it safely out together. Now please form a line to the door at my left and prepare yourself for the horror that is Sasquatch. With excitement building, I grabbed Nana by the hand and pulled her so we could be first in line to see the creature. As the rest of the room got in line behind us, the barker came down before us and stood in front of the door. He knocked 3 times, then 2, and then the door slowly opened and he stepped inside. He stepped aside and let us all by. I looked in the cage, but I couldn't see a thing. Others pushed past us and yelled at the barker, "Hey, is this some kind of a scam? There's no creature in here." The barker pushed past us all to stare at the now empty cage with the side door open and a panicked look upon his face. Just then, silence fell upon the room as we heard a low, deep, guttural growl from the darkened corner of the room of the tent. Barker froze and began to back up slowly towards the doors. Just then, the creature came forth into the light. It stood some 7 foot tall, must have been 500 pounds, great big ridges over its eyes that shadowed them from the light, making the details harder to see. Covered in hair from head to toe, it stood before us, heaving and now panting in what seemed like aggravated panic. It began to pace back and forth, and then stopped and screamed a blood-curdling roar that made us all turn and run from the tent. Nana was frozen in place, but a quick tug towards the exit's direction, she quickly fled with me. Others trampling over people who had fallen. I looked back just in time to see the Sasquatch snatch the barker by the arm and thrash him to the ground until he moved no more, then tore through the back end of the tent and fled into the woods. We rushed back to the car and avoided near collision after near collision all the way back out. And before we knew it, we'd actually arrived back to her house. Granddad met us at the door. He had heard on the radio that there was some sort of emergency at the carnival, and he was relieved that we were home. Sat down while they had coffee and tried to explain what had happened. But it wasn't until he heard it on the news report on the radio that they were actually looking for an escaped animal from the show that he finally started to believe. For weeks, it seemed there were reports of people seeing it almost nightly until finally it just stopped. Although there's been mysterious cases of missing persons around the carnival until it finally closed a few years later. But I suppose those are tales for another time. Thanks for listening. I'm Reverend Jeff, and may the Squatch be with you.